G'day guys, welcome back to the Aussie Gooner channel, and that's that time of the day again. Only a few hours away. We've got those fucking wankers that screwed us before for 3 points, but you know what? We're at the Emirates. It's redemption time, guys. Redemption time, guys. But I can't do this show without my right-hand man here, Akpos in the building. Man, what are you saying? How you doing, Akpos? How's things, my man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, and it's always excited to be on the stream, to be on the channel, to talk about our beloved Arsenal. And for me, one thing that has been my big take home for me this season, whether we win the league or not, is the fact that we have a team that would fight through difficult moments. We have people who feel the pains that we feel as football fans. We have a squad that feels it as much as we feel it when we don't get all 3 points. So for me, that's a big plus for moving from some of the teams we've seen where it seems like some players were not really concerned, some players were not really affected when the team did not do so well on the pitch. So we have guys who are sold into the project, and who I look at them and say, okay, yes, they want to excel, they want to win something, they want to achieve something playing for the Arsenal. So I'm excited about that, and I'm always looking forward to the next game this season. So that's a big plus for me as an Arsenal fan at the moment.
Look, I couldn't agree with you more. It's a team that never it's that never say die attitude. Just keep going, keep driving, trying to get that goal. Even when we're down, it's like, you know what, we're gonna try to find a way to come back into a game. You know what I mean? Without just dominating possession, we're doing stuff with it, if you know what I mean. I mean, look, guys, I'm going to touch into this Leicester game that's come, gone, and blah, blah, blah. And the reason why is because I was talking fucking false nines a fucking while back. And my man in the fucking background was talking about it a while ago, you know what I mean, boys? And we've seen the false nine and how it can work with Trossard and Martinelli, and how the two of them working together in this game was, I don't know, was something that I don't think many of us have seen since Jesus. I think it was some positivity in that game, and it shows that maybe Mikel Arteta has a plan B. I don't know about you, Akpos, but there's this false nine, Trossard as the number 9. Does that sound like a plan B to you?
For me, for sure, that sounds like a plan B for me, because that was what a few of the brothers were talking on the stream on the last show we had about they thinking that the manager needs to come up with a plan B from when teams try to sit back and don't come out to play, because we know that we've gotten most of our goals when we're hitting all of these teams on the counter break, because they have opened up a little bit for us. So I think that's a good thing for the manager, because I talked on the last show and I said that they would be looking at all of these possibilities. And, while we were talking about after the game, you were excited the fact that the manager tweaked it and we got the expected result. And I told you that, yes, you got your first 9 and we got all 3 points, and that's all counts. All the 3 points, to getting 3 points in every game now, it's a big non-negotiable for us. And on this stream, I also talked about one of my homeboy were saying he felt like Gabriel Martinelli has not been playing as good as he started the season, because of the that understanding that's not there between Eddie and Katie and him in terms of their mold and the kind of player that Eddie is. Eddie brings something different compared to what Gabriel Jesus brings. But if you look at Trossard is somebody who is very comfortable with ball on his feet. It has that trickery. It has that interchanging, that switch of changing in position with Gabriel Martinelli, and that was what led to the goal in that game. So I think like that's something we could potentially have in our arsenal when teams tend to sit back for us, because they have realized that, okay, that's one way to approach the game against us to make it difficult for us. So, but it's a good one that we have players who could give us something different. We have a manager who's also looking at all of those possibilities and willing to correct every mistakes he has seen in the previous games and willing to improve. Because for me, I think like no matter how well you're playing, there's always going to be room for improvement. So that's a good one for us, in my opinion.
To be honest, in that game, I couldn't agree with you more. The transition, the back and forth with Trossard and Martinelli was something I could see happening if the two of them ever fielded a game together. Everyone was saying that Martinelli was going to start at the 9, and I was like, look, I can't see Martinelli as a 9. I can see Trossard play a false, and it was great to see it. I mean, players like even Jorginho stepped up in that game. Some of his passes that were going, one of the passes that went to Saka was pinpoint, and I think, in my opinion, in that game, it could have been more. Unfortunately, it was only 1 goal that finished it, but you know what? It could have been a lot more, and I think the positive the positive aspects of this is that the two players that we have brought in the January transfer window, being Jorginho and Trossard, have hit the ground running. And Trossard, to be honest, the goal that he did score and unfortunately was ruled out, that could have been one of the goals of the season. I mean, that was a quality goal. It shows that he's hungry and he's looking to prove something. So, guys, against Everton, what more could we want but a hungry team, a couple of boys that are trying to prove a point. We know Jesus is now training. So Trossard is there trying to make, a bit of noise for himself, saying, hey, look, I know I'm supposed to be coming on off the bench, but you know what? I've got some moves. I've got some this and that and all of the above. But look, at the moment, honestly, we need 3 points against Everton, guys. Everton is the game that's up next, 6 hours away, give or take 6-7 hours away. And to be perfectly honest, there's no excuses now. The new manager bounces out the window. This team has, of course, beaten us. They've beaten Leeds, but they've won 2 and lost 2. And to be perfectly honest, they've lost to Liverpool and Villa. In my opinion, at the moment, them coming to the Emirates now, there's 2 things that we need to take away from the loss. One, that we weren't physical enough. And 2, we weren't quick enough. I don't know about you, Akpos, but against Everton the first time, I think their midfielders out-muscled ours. The other thing I had a problem with was our transition and the speed of transition. I think that was a major issue in regards to our attacks being just fucking useless when it came to playing Everton the first time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because I think just a few days ago, I was checking one of the articles, and I think I can't remember exactly who said it, but it was one of our players that said that after the game, they analyzed what went wrong and all of the things they could do a lot more better. Mikel told them that they did not run enough because that was one of the things that showed after the game, that they were not doing a lot of run-ins because I felt like Everton wanted it more in that game. They were winning all of the second balls. They were being more physical. They were running a lot more than we were doing in that game. So I think they said, that Arsenal player said, Mikel pointed out all of these things. And I think I listened to Mikel's pressers yesterday, and he was saying they had to go back to the basic. They had to go to the box because they felt they were not doing enough on both boxes. Because in our boxes, we were making silly mistakes. We were conceding goals. If you remember on the last stream, I talked about how we need to close shop, how we needed to be more solid in our defense. And we know when you predicted you wanted a 3-1 victory, I said we needed that a little bit of cushion in terms of keeping a clean sheet. We need that confidence back, and I predicted 3-0 victory to the Arsenal. It did not come 3-0, but at the end of the day, we still got that clean sheet. And something that transpired after the game, Gabriel and Saliba getting into each other at the end of the game. The team has kept a clean sheet. We won. We got all 3 points in the bag. But you could see these two guys going after each other for something they thought have not gone well in the game. And that's what we want to see. Because no matter how, because personally, I'm a keen disciple of relentless improvement. I want to always improve whatever process I'm doing because I feel like no matter how good your process could be, there's always going to be room for improvement. So we've kept a clean sheet, but our center backs are still getting going head to head that, okay, you could have done this better during the game. Maybe you were not tracking back and all. That's what we want to see from our players because we've considered a couple of very silly goals, a couple of schoolboy errors in the last couple of games. So we need to close shop on that box, and on the other box, we need to start taking our chances. So Mikel was spot on about we need to concentrate on the boxes. And going into this game, that's what I want to see. I want us to close shop in our box, don't concede no silly goals. And in the opponent's box, we need to be taking all of our chances. So I think these two signings that have come into the team in January, I want to pick up Mikel Arteta and Kasper Edu for the reason being that, firstly, the signing of Jorginho, that's not my guy. I share the same opinion with you on that one.
And look, check out this comment.
Yeah, I wanted Yuri Tillemans on that one, but I have to pick up the manager because he had a vision, he had a plan. And these two players, I thought that these two guys have carried us in the last couple of games where we've missed some of our other players. Thomas Partey getting injured, Jorginho has stepped into the picture, and he has done a very decent job in these games where I think so his experience, I think, has come to play here also, and the manager knowing what he wants from a player. So I want to pick up the manager because we as fans sometimes we tend to criticize a lot, But when these guys are getting it right, we should also come on these streams. We should also come on these platforms and pick them up for these correct decisions, in my opinion. So I think these two guys have been tremendous for us. They've added more quality to the team. They might not be have been our priority transfer targets in these positions, though, but they have come in, they have lifted up the qualities in that position, and they have come into the team and getting the job done. So for that, Mikel and Gaspar do they need to get their kudos for that one.
Oh, no. Look, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that the January transfer window was a decent January transfer window. But the last comment that was up was what midfield do you guys want to see? And to be honest, it was a good question. That's a top question. Now with Jorginho coming in and Thomas Partey looking fit, in my opinion, look, Jorginho doesn't take Partey's position, but he only takes Partey's position if Partey is not 100%. Now, when I mean 100%, I mean not 92, 93%. I'm not interested in having a Thomas Partey in the middle of the park who's not fit, because don't get me wrong. I think when it comes to Everton Football Club, their strength is their midfield. Going forward, they're useless. The defenders are a shit show shambles, and I'm going to get into their defenders anyway. But going in their midfield, they got Onana, they got Doucouré, they got McNeil, they got Iwobi on the right side for that creativity. So their midfield is packed. It's pretty good. I think, in my opinion, I wouldn't mind having Thomas Partey at 100%. If he's not, then I have to see Jorginho. But if I do have 100% Thomas Partey, of course, it's going to be Partey, Xhaka, and Odegaard. Now, this is where, big up Delboard, big up, bro, big up everyone in the chat. But this is where it gets a bit twisted with me. That midfield there, I've noticed Granit Xhaka has been a little bit wayward as of late. Now, the other thing I've noticed is Jorginho has been on point with his passing. So, in my opinion, is if I'm going to see Partey, Xhaka, and Odegaard start, if I don't see much change in the midfield, if I start to see that the midfield starting to go a bit bare, I want to see Jorginho come in for Xhaka and not for Partey. So, you know what I'm saying? I know it sounds a bit strange, but I actually want to see Jorginho come in for Xhaka because I think it's going to be a better position for Jorginho, being a little bit more advanced to be able to put his passes through. But that's just my opinion. I mean, Akpos, if you're going to choose a midfield, who would your midfield be? Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. We've got the votes here. 10 votes in the poll. 80% say yes. 20% say no. Oh, everyone's on my side. Here we go. I like this. Well, but Akpos,
for me, one thing I want to point out is the fact that Granit Xhaka has played a lot of games this season.
Yeah.
So something Mikel was talking about in his pressers yesterday was that the fact that you don't expect to see players playing at that very high level consistently for a long period of time.
Yeah.
For about 10 months or so, there's going to be the moments where they're going to have a little bit of dip in form, a little bit of fatigue from playing a lot of games. Because for me, Granit Xhaka has been one of our best performers this season. Take him away from that midfield, and you see a totally different midfield, in my opinion. So it's okay for him not to have some that performance in some, to not being able to replicate that high performance in some games. It's okay for him to also get in a breather, but this is a very important game, and I want to see what Mikel Arteta is going to decide for me, because I think I would be okay with Jorginho coming in for Granit Xhaka with the fact that he has played a lot of games. But personally, I would want to start Granit Xhaka in that game also, because with Jorginho, I don't know what's going to be there in terms of that connection with Granit Xhaka and who's going to be playing on the left-hand side, because Granit Xhaka and Gabriel Martinelli has got that understanding here already. They have the understanding. There are moments where Granit Xhaka would be holding on to the ball. Martinelli knows what to expect. But put Jorginho there, I think a little bit might affect some of the synergy we already have in the team. So I want to go easy on that one. I want to go with security, in my opinion. Start Granit Xhaka there. If Thomas Partey is 100% fit, he has to come in for Jorginho, because Doucouré, Onana, and Gueye is going to be very physical in that midfield. We don't need to forget that. We saw what happened in the last game. It was physical in the middle of the pack. And I think they got the best out of us, because we were not doing a lot of run-ins. We were losing the 50-50 balls. So especially in these games where I know that the midfielders we're going to be facing are going to be very physical, we need Thomas Partey in this battle, in my opinion. So for me, Thomas Partey has to come in. But it also depends on his fitness per se. Yeah. If he's going to miss just one game and be fit for the rest part of the season, that's fine for me. So I don't want to take risk with that. So I agree with you guys on that one.
Well, Football Capital is making it, because I think you guys are going to be overrun with Xhaka and Jorginho starting against Everton. I believe so too. That's why. Yeah, because that's why I'd want a Thomas Partey, but 100% Thomas Partey. I don't know if you agree with me, guys, but if we have a Thomas Partey that's in less than 60% or 70%, he's useless. He's weak on the ball, and he becomes a liability. And he doesn't cover Ben White. You get what I'm saying? Unfortunately, Ben White requires cover. What do you do, eh? Sports Capital, Munzie in the building. Chelsea OG in the building. Big up, you guys. Big up, big up. Gunaresh, my guy. Big up. Agreeing with me on the Jorginho move. Big up, guys. I've been looking at Everton since we've lost. Okay. So I've been watching Everton's game since we've lost, and to be perfectly honest, like I look at their strengths, I look at their weaknesses, unfortunately, I look at their front line, and their front line is a bit of a shit show. Injuries left, right, and center. And to be perfectly honest, I look at where they're getting their goals from. At the moment, the last goals have only come from Tarkowski and Coleman. And Coleman had that great goal. Don't get me wrong, it was quality. I don't know if he miskicked it. But going forward, their Mopai, their Iwobis, their Doucourés, and all that, even the McNeils, they're useless going forward. They're struggling to get goals, and they're using the defenders to do this. Now, I look at this and I think to myself, all right, I understand that going forward they're weak, right? They like to stretch out a team, but this is why the poll was out there. Tomiyasu at right back instead of Ben White to solidify the defensive line. This will take pressure off Jorginho if he sits in Thomas Partey's position. That way he doesn't have to keep covering Ben White when he bombs forward. I understand that this could be to the detriment of Saka. But what do you reckon, Akpos? Tomiyasu instead of Ben White in this game. Strategic move so that way we can solidify our defense.
Tommy has to come in for me in this game. Because if we remember what happened to us on the reverse feature at Goodison Park, they were training a lot of crosses in the box, and we considered to go from a set piece.
And he wins headers, so, every header.
Exactly. So Tommy has to come in this game because I think Tommy is going to give us more advantage in terms of the height and more solidity in terms of the defensive duty, even also on the right hand side. So Tommy has to come in for me in this game because I've seen the Mikel Arteta has been able to do this in terms of tweaking the formation, tweaking the personnel a little bit in terms of the opponent we are going to be facing. So he knows that with Sean Dyche, they're going to be looking at every set pieces. Every set pieces potentially is going to be a threat for them with Sean Dyche and the way we've known that his teams tend to play. So Tomiyasu coming in on that position gives us more solidity in terms of the set pieces, in terms of that right hand side. So I would definitely want to see Tommy starting this game. Ben White has been decent so far this season, but we know it's a marathon. We won't see the same 11 game after game. We need to also change it a little bit, with respect to the opposition and what they're going to be throwing at us. So we've seen games where their teams are putting in a lot of crosses, and Tommy is very good in terms of the area ball. So I would love to see Tommy starting ahead of Ben White on this one.
Well, you got two guys here that are talking about Tomiyasu starting first, but look at the poll, 53 to 47. Ooh, it's getting close, guys. It's nearly a 50-50 split here. Nearly a 50-50 split. But look, I believe in the Tomiyasu move mainly as well because he doesn't miss a header. He doesn't miss a header. Sports Capital, start Ben Shite. Munzie, fuck you. Anyway, it's all love, Munzie. Especially when I got you on my own and you assume the position. But anyway, I've been looking at Everton a little bit closer as well. Have you noticed that when they go forward, right, they bomb forward, they've got all their players into the box, but it's like a bobble job goal every fucking time. Every time they're going to get themselves a goal, it's always a bobble job. It's never clear cut. It's never clean. It's never crisp. Now, our problem at the moment is, when we seem to be going forward, our back line we hold a very high line. We hold a very high line, and that allows, and if they hold their 5 players into the midfield and they recover, they can transition pretty quick. And I think for Everton at the moment, it's the McNeil move, always down the left-hand side. Once a team comes a little bit too far forward, it's a pass from, I think it's the Ukrainian defender, forgot his name. What's his name? Mikolenko? And he puts a ball into, he seems to be putting balls into McNeil, and that opens up our defense. And again, I keep thinking of Ben White in that position. You know how he comes forward? I can just see McNeil exposing him and then breaking out on our left-hand side and countering us. And you know how we have been lately on a counter. Yes, we're not too bad, but with fucking Ben White there, it scares the shit out of me. But look, I honestly believe that Tomiyasu is probably not going to get a start in this game. I think they're going to go with Ben White. But if they do start Tomiyasu, to be perfectly honest, it would be the best move for us. Guys in the chat, I don't know if you guys have been watching Everton, but I'm pretty sure most of us can agree. Everton's weaknesses are in counters. Every time they've been countered, there's been a goal. If you watch them against Liverpool, right, the Salah goal. I don't know if you guys watched Everton-Liverpool, the Merseyside derby. I did, right, and mainly because I was hoping Liverpool would lose. But anyway, if you look at that first goal from Mohamed Salah, they had their corner. Everton had their corner real quick. Bobble job, as per usual. It gets cleared by Liverpool. It plays down the left-hand side to Darwin Núñez. That's a side that Seamus Coleman should be on there. That's Everton's right. They break down the right-hand side. The ball goes to Salah. They score. Now, that was the first goal on a counter, right? The second goal that Liverpool scored, again, the ball was recovered in Liverpool's half on the same side, right-hand side, Seamus Coleman. Okay, a little bit more advanced. But the ball then got switched to the other side, the other wing, to Everton's left, played down, and then Trent puts a ball across the face of goal, and Akpos scores. Who's supposed to be covering? Seamus Coleman again. Buendia against Aston Villa. Who's supposed to be covering Buendia? Seamus Coleman again. I start noticing that Seamus Coleman keeps getting caught out of position. Now, don't get me wrong, he scored himself a goal. But I'm thinking to myself, if we transition a little bit faster, we have all this possession, but if we can transition a little bit faster, surely Trossard or Martinelli can expose this defensive frailty. I don't know if you've seen it, Akpos. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've been noticing that. Have you noticed this from Seamus Coleman coming forward and being exposed? If you think about those two games, those goals all came down pretty much on his side against Liverpool and Aston Villa. That's 3 goals that he's possibly cost his team.
I think like that's an area we should potentially look out to target. And for me, irrespective of the opposition, every time we've transitioned the ball very, very fast from defense to attack, we are always making teams pay for it. In games when we've not done so well, our movement of the ball has been very slow, very indecisive. So if we're making those decisions very quickly, those half seconds decisions as soon as possible, if we transition the ball from defense to attack very fast, I think that we have the quality to make teams pay. So that's Coleman's area. I think their wing backs should be up for the challenge because the kind of players we have on both wings are players who would always want to take on the man. You know, they've got pace, they've got trickery, they've got the skill. So, but it has to be their decision making and also getting the ball to them on the right at the very right time. Not those passes, those very slow passes. 1-2 passes, get the ball to the winger. We have to play very direct as possible. And I look at Everton as a team that would always give other teams chances. They will give you chances, but our big problem I've looked at in the last couple of games is our conversion rate has been very slow in terms of the chances we are getting. So we need to be more clinical. 1-2 chances, get the ball in the back of the net. And if you score Everton first, I think you have a lot of chances in winning that game. So the first goal is going to be very vital in this game. First 10, 20 minutes of the game, we need to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, you're right. That will open up the game. Everton will have to come at us. Definitely. Everton will have to come at us. Gunaresh came out and is actually saying, will Arteta give Kieran Tierney a farewell game? I honestly don't know. Do not know. What's happening with Kieran Tierney? No idea. It's looking like he's going to be... It's looking like, honestly, he's pretty much... He's fine. He's going to find his way out of the club. So what do you do? Akpos always in there with the facts. Big up, Fran. Big up, Fran. Big up. Oh, no. Poll update. Can you believe it? People are disagreeing on this. I can't believe it. Wow. I hope, just like the Trossard thing that everyone disagreed with me on. Remember that? Yeah. I hope that Mikel Arteta listens to me and does this too. And everyone's going to be like, oh, fuck, the false 9 was a good idea. Oh, shit, Tomiyasu is a wonderful idea. Want to prove you guys wrong. To be honest, I think our transitions have been a bit slow. I think when I look at Arsenal Football Club and I see the way we build up our play, it's all about possession, much like Manchester City. But there's 1,000 passes before there's one shot, just like you were saying, Akpos. And I think, don't get me wrong, you can try and pass a team to death. You can try and pass the ball into the back of the net. But when you allow a team to keep getting back in line every single time they're back 4 in their fucking midfield, you're never going to break them down. I think we have to be a bit more direct. There has to be less passes when it comes to the shot. It needs to be 2 to 3 passes and then a shot on goal, because if it's any more than that, they're going to have plenty of time to line back up again, park the bus, and frustrate the shit out of us, much like they did the first time. I think teams like Liverpool and Aston Villa, I mean, if Mikel Arteta is looking at the way they've played Everton, he's going to have to understand the way they took the game to Everton. It was open and they went at them physically and they countered them very quick. I think we have to do the same exact thing to Everton. I couldn't agree with you more. I think, to be honest, the other thing that we have to do is we have to be aggressive. That's one thing this season we really haven't been. Not aggressive, argy-bargy, get a card. I'm talking hard tackles. I think our midfielders need to impose themselves. I know Granit Xhaka is one of them, but I think Granit Xhaka, and if Partey plays, we need to impose ourselves, and we have to become a bit aggressive in that midfield, because if we don't, I think Onana and, of course, Doucouré are gonna just gonna shit on us, because I don't want us to be. We're just gonna be too soft in the middle of the park. I don't know about you, Akpos, but I think we lack that aggression. Whereas Everton, on the other hand, it just seems like they're coming in for the argy-bargy.
I totally agree with you. We saw that in the first game at the Goodison Park. We saw that these guys in the midfield, Onana, Gueye, and Doucouré, they came with a lot of power. They came with a lot of energy, and they were winning all of those 50-50 tackles. And Thomas Partey was also not having one of his best performances this season also. So I think I totally agree with you that in the middle of the park, we should not let these three guys have a field day. We should not let him win those 50-50 tackles. We need to get in their faces. We need to be quick. I think it's going to be a team job, not just for the midfielders. We need to make it very difficult for them to play and have more of the ball, keep the ball, more of the ball to ourselves, and not just having possessions and no threats. We need to threaten them every time we take possession of the ball also.
Oh, mate, I couldn't agree with you more. And if you look at the banner down the bottom, you're going to notice that there's a stat there that's a little bit troubling for Evertonians, that they actually haven't won an away game since October. Now I'm just saying that's a fucking long time without winning an away game. I'm just putting it out there. So that's also, a big thing for Arsenal at the moment. The other thing that we've got on the bench right now, right? We've got an Emil Smith-Rowe who's on the bench right now, Akpos. Now, this is where it becomes interesting. There's been games where Odegaard's sort of looking flat, sort of looking out of it. Is this a kind of game that, when it's just not going right, that we can throw in Emil Smith-Rowe? Because he's on the bench, so he must be ready to play. Now, I don't know about the guys in the chat, what you think. Is it time for Emil Smith-Rowe to get minutes?
I don't think it's time for us to see Emil Smith-Rowe starting right now. But just like you were excited with the fact that he's on the bench, I'm excited with the fact that we have so much option on the bench now. Because if you looked at some of the last couple of games, our options coming from the bench have been very slim, very, very slim. But now I think we have more weapons on the bench that potentially, if the game is not going to plan, we have more players who could come in and change the game. And Emil Smith-Rowe is definitely one of them. He's a very good ball carrier, somebody who could get the ball and get a goal, get an assist for us. And teams will be wary of what he could possess also in terms of counter-attack. So it's a good addition to have him on the bench. And it also was good to have him play with the under-21s or the under-23s or so. I think him and Kiwior performed for them. Mikel saw that they needed game time. I think that should be a good preparation going into this game. So if they have to come in, they would be able to have that needed match fitness to be able to get the job done. So Emil Smith-Rowe, for me, I'm excited with the fact that he's fit now. He's on the bench, and we don't know when we're going to call him to action. And if need be, he could come in and get the job done for us, because he is somebody who's got to go and assist in him. So excited one.
Honestly, can't wait for it. And Fran just pretty much, clarified the same thing you just did. Kiwior and ESR started for the under-21. The under 21s a couple of days ago, and it is positive. So to be honest, if ESR can play in that game, Kiwior can play in that game, I think this is a kind of game where ESR could be utilized. Now, don't forget he plays on the left. He also plays as a 10. He always seems to find his way into the middle of the park, into that natural 10 position. So you know what?
And talking about your false nine, Mikel has also mentioned that Emil can also play in that false nine position. So
there you go.
Maybe we might see that one going into the season. Who knows?
This is all those plan Bs, plan Cs, plan Ds. We're going to run out of fucking letters in the alphabet when it comes to Mikel Arteta by the look of things. You know what I mean, boys? Now, we've got look. Everyone's talking about who's going to start at the number 9. Now, I've had a chat with guys on Instagram, and they're saying, look, Trossard did start as a false 9 and it worked. Yes, it worked against Leicester, but they don't see how it's possibly going to work against Everton because, bigger team, bigger defenders, bit lanky. Trossard might get muscled, whereas Eddie's a bit bulkier now. In my opinion, I still want to see Trossard start as a false nine. I think he's going to be a lot better for Martinelli, and I think he's going to be a lot better for Odegaard, and in some case, Saka. I don't want to see Eddie. I don't want to see Eddie on the starting line against Everton because I think he was useless in the last game. Off the bench, I don't mind him as an option, but not a starter. Now, I don't know about everybody in the comments. Does Trossard start this time over Eddie just like he did last time? Because it worked the last time. I think it'll work again. Akpos, what do you reckon? Do you want Eddie to start this one? Maybe because of physicality? Or do you reckon Trossard should start as a false nine?
For me, how would I say it? If it's not bad, you don't have to fix it. It seems that it's working at the moment. Eddie has not had that run of games where he has been very, very efficient in terms of converting the chances he's getting into goals. I think he has had a little bit of dip in form, but kudos to him for what he has brought to the team. But Trossard is doing a decent job now. He did it in the last game, got into the assist to our goals. So for me, Eddie still needs to sit this one out. Trossard needs to start, and we see how it pans out from there. And Eddie, for me, when he comes from the bench also, it's something that will give defenses something to worry about. So I love this competition for places I'm seeing across every position in this team right now. That's what we want. That's what the team would positively benefit from, because if one player is not bringing in the goods, it could be on the bench while a different player comes in and get the job done. And we could also see this interchange. So for me, it's a good one. We've seen in some years past where it's been very thin in some specific position where no matter how poorly some players are doing, we don't have anybody that could come in and do better than them. So, but we have some people who could come in and do a good job. Thomas Partey, who's been, I think, as the backbone of this team, was injured. We have Jorginho coming into the team, and it's making us feel like we are not missing Thomas Partey. So this is what we want to see from the team. This is what we were screaming for when we said the manager needs more backing from the owners. So we are hoping that we are getting somewhere with all of this addition, and we will continue to build on it moving forward.
Look, fingers crossed that this depth that we didn't have now, it seems like we do. Jesus is also training now, so that's also a positive. To be top of the league, game in hand, 2 points clear, and not to have our starting striker there, to be honest, you know what? It's a positive. And look, Football Capital said it. Fran, Steve said 8 or more points in front. With 10 games to go, Arsenal will win it. That's exactly what I said. Facts. That is exactly what I said on the Football Capital. And I stick by it. Honestly. Because I know Jesus will be back and it's business. There was a comment in there talking about the Europa League and possibly weakening our squad against Europa League teams in order to stabilize our fucking Premier League title challenge. And yeah, I do see Mikel Arteta. Yeah, will Arteta play a weaker team against Sporting to make the title run more solid? Captain saved. I saw this one and it was in my mind. I do see it, but when we say weakened squad, right? And Akpos, correct me if I'm wrong. How weak, really? Now, I think to myself, Aaron Ramsdale will probably be in goal, right? I do believe, and it's a goalkeeper, so I don't think it's a big deal. I know Tomiyasu can start on that right-hand side. Okay, I think one of our starting centre backs has to be there, whether it be Saliba or Gabriel next to Rob Holding, or even Kivior there next to either Gabriel or Saliba. I think Rob Holding will be part of that. At left back, we could still use Kieran Tierney. Now, that Tierney hasn't had many games, but I still think he can do a job. In the middle of the park, look at our options. We've got Jorginho there. We've got Kivior who can play in the middle of the park. Do you get what I'm saying? Now we've got ESR come back. We've got Fabio Vieira there as well. Now, in the middle of the park, I think 2 of our starting lineup players would have to be in there. My opinion, it would have to be at least Odegaard and maybe Thomas Partey coming in, not Thomas Partey, and maybe Granit Xhaka coming in for a Jorginho as well. And our front line, well, we've got Eddie Nketiah now. And if Reece Nelson comes back fit, we've also got ESR. This is a kind of a shape that we could take against Sporting. It's not too weak. It's not too strong. And it allows us, it allows our starting line players to rest up. I don't know if you agree, Akpos, but I don't think we're going to go weak. Maybe 4 or 5, maybe 4 players come in that are off the bench into a starting 11. Would you agree or not? Do you think we should just go? I agree
with you. And with respect to that comment, I would not want to use the word weekend. I would want to use the word rotation. Rotation. Yeah, we'll see rotation because I think like it will still be a very strong squad. We'll see a good number of the starters we see during the league games, during the Premier League games in that fixtures, because I think the Europa League is an opportunity for another trophy. We should not forget that. So I don't think like it's something Mikel Arteta would want to play with. So, and these guys coming in from the injuries now, it makes it more exciting to what the Europa League holds for us. Because if you're saying Gabriel Jesus coming in from injury and starting in the Europa League game, I don't think you would call that a weakened squad. I think we'll more use the word rotation in terms of that. So for me, Emmy Smith-Rowe coming in also, it's a good one. And Kiritani coming in for the left back position would give Zinchenko a much needed breather in terms of how much games he has played also. So Kiritani playing in the Europa League, I don't think I would be scared about that. I would feel like the quality has dropped. And this is what we've been talking about. When other players coming in for the guys that are starting, would there be a massive drop in quality? Or we would say, okay, these guys will come in and get the job done. If Trossard is starting on the left-hand side of the pitch, I don't think I would say that is a massive drop in quality in terms of Trossard coming in for Gabriel Martinelli, Eddie Nketiah starting in as the striker, and maybe Fabio Vieira coming in for Martin Odegaard. So these are potential changes we could see during the Europa League, but I still feel like we would see a lot of the first teamers in also during the Europa League campaign for me, because I think that's a big chance of getting in a trophy that we don't have yet in our cabinet. We should not forget about that, because we don't have so much glory in terms of the European competitions. I think that's something we should begin to keep an eye on. And for me, we should be in this one to win it. So I don't think like Mikel Arteta would want to weaken himself. So I think we will see a strong squad, but there will be rotation in terms of the starting 11 in the Premier League.
Oh, look, I couldn't agree with you more. There will be rotation. And Gunaresh said, even like Gunaresh just before he left, big up Gunaresh, big up everyone in the chat. Julius Camera, man, honestly, big up, man. I'm liking some of the stuff you're putting out there. Oh, the poll is changing. It's swinging back my way. We're convincing him, Akpos. We're convincing him. We're turning him over. Look at this. Look at this. To be honest, here we go. I rate every trophy, especially for the squad feel good factor. So big up you guys. I even rate the Carabao Cup. Look, every trophy is a trophy in the cabinet, okay? Except if it's an Audi Cup, right? That doesn't count. EFL, we're talking FA Cup, Premier League, Europa, Champions League, Conference, whatever. But these are trophies that every single team should be fighting for. Doesn't matter if they're up here or down here. It's a trophy in the cabinet. Man United have won the Carabao Cup. Liverpool fucking celebrated the Carabao Cup. Man City would take it seriously. Every team takes it seriously. And I do agree with Akpos that we need to take our run into the Europa League very serious, just like we do with the Premier League. And it is about rotation, and it's about trying to make sure that these players stay fit and don't get injured. That's the big deal here. You know what I mean? We want to see this title run that we're on. We want to see it through. At the same time, we want to try to compete in the Europa League at the same time. Hey, who knows? We could do the double. Oh no! Fuad in the building. Oh, here we go. What have we got? Sorry, AK. Just a reminder, United's name is on the Europa League trophy. Is that right? Can
I say something on this one?
You can definitely say something on this one, because we could do the double.
This season you won at your home ground. I won at my own ground. So it would be an interesting one if we could lock ons again this season to see who's going to win. Winner takes all on this one. And I will be excited if it's going to be Arsenal Manchester United in the Europa League final. I think it's going to be a crack out again.
That will be some of the old dogs, the old lions going toe to toe for a trophy again. Just like it used to be back in the day when it was actually interesting football and not just the same old shit. If you know what I mean, man. Look, to be honest, I think that this game against Everton, it's key. We can't drop points here. In my opinion, if we drop points here, honestly, if we don't show some strength in this game, it could be done and dusted. It could be. This is a team that is fucking struggling. Seriously. Hey, bro, I'm good, thanks. What do you got? Forward, I'm okay, mate. All good. What the fuck is going on here? Football Capital is controlling the comments, guys, so don't blame me. Akpos is like wondering what's going on. Sporting Run North. Here we go. Sporting Run North London Day. Football Capital, you're supposed to be controlling the comments, not adding to them, mate. You're supposed to be the producer. You're supposed to be producing. You're producing shit. Let's not get in there, mate. Arsenal double. Hey, forward. That's what I'm talking about. You never know. It could happen. You never know. It's out there. It's available. You know what I mean? We're looking serious. We're no pushovers. You never know. You know what I mean? Should have done a poll on that. What's the chances of Arsenal winning the double? Oh shit. Guys, big up for everyone in the chat. Big up for the comments. Big up for everyone who's joined us. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel and my guy Akpos's channel. Please, you got to get in there and fucking support Akpos. Akpos, before we finish up this show, right? I was going to think about starting line, right? And I'm pretty sure we might see eye to eye to this. Now, my starting line, my preferred starting line, would have been, of course, Ramsdale. I wanted Ben White out for Tommy. Saliba and Gabriel, of course, and Zinchenko. I honestly want Partey to start, but I want the Xhaka and Jorginho effect to happen in about this. If it's not going well, I want to see Jorginho and Xhaka swap positions. I want Xhaka on the bench and Jorginho in the 60th if it's not going well. Now, of course, our front line of Trossard, Martinelli, Saka, and Odegaard is my predicted line. I don't know about you, but what would you go for a starting line? And guys in the chat, what would your starting line be?
Well, for me, I would go with almost the same team that you've dished out there, because I think like that front three should not be altered at the moment. They are beginning to understand themselves more. We saw that it was effective in the last game against Leicester. We saw that there's this interchanging play between Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli. But for me, I look at that Murphy trio of Everton, and also I look at one who was one of our own, Alex Iwobi, and what it brought to the features at the Goodison Park. And I think like we are going to need legs in that midfield. I worry if we'll play Jorginho and Xhaka, a midfield trio of Jorginho, Xhaka, and Martin Odegaard against Doucouré, Gueye, and Onana. Those guys have got legs. If Alex Iwobi drops into the midfield, that's four of them, or quick, or strong, or big, or physical. I feel like we're going to struggle in terms of that physicality. So definitely for me, I want to see Thomas Partey starting if it's very close to being 100%, in my opinion, because we are going to need Thomas Partey in this game. We are going to. You're talking about aggression. Thomas Partey is somebody who comes with the aggression, who is going to get into the face of the opposition midfielder. So he's going to provide that screen between the midfield and the defense. Who's also going to provide cover for whosoever is going to be on the right hand side, because we should not forget Everton also put some threats going into that that flank also. So for me, Thomas Partey has to start this game. We need all of our best players in this game, because those guys in the middle of the park, they're going to want to be physical again. They are going to want to come with the same approach of being aggressive, training a lot of balls. Also, Thomas Partey is going to be plus in terms of his height, in terms of his aerial powers, in terms of if they want to put in a lot of crosses into the box.
Yeah.
So Thomas Partey, for me, it needs to start this game, in my opinion.
Look, I couldn't agree with you more. I would want Partey to start, but it's for me. If Partey isn't 100%, no, I can't do it. I can't do it if Partey is not 100%, because I can't have, for me, a liability in the midfield, especially when I've got a team like Everton. When it comes to their midfield, that's their strength. I can't have a player there who's not at 100%, because then it's guaranteed chink in our armor and they'll just walk through us. Especially if Ben White's playing, then we're guaranteed. McNeil's going to have he's going to have a field day with it. He's going to be running up and down that left-hand side. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they're going to be able to finish, but eventually one of these shots is going to bobble into the back of the net. They almost got one against Aston Villa. It was cleared by I can't remember who cleared it, one of their centre-backs. So who knows? Guys, thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, you need to subscribe to Akpos's channel. Now, Akpos, you haven't pushed your channel. Fran has done it. Please tell them where they can find you.
Well, guys, you can always find me on the Football Talk Shop. And if you're African or you're West African and you speak Pidgin, you can also find me on Football Pidgin across all the different social media platforms.
There you go, guys. There you go. Here we go. We got Fran. Look, I got Fran and Fuad going at it. Xhaka and Jorginho pace is stuff of legends. What are you talking about? Here we go. Look, to be honest, Granit Xhaka being that far forward, yes, his pace is in Nisu. And Jorginho, yeah, he hasn't got legs. But I think Jorginho is more suited to Granit Xhaka's position than Partey's, but he's doing a job at the moment, Fran. I don't know. Tell me what you think. And Fuad, you know me, man. You got to give credit where credit's due. And Arteta right now, he has been getting it right for Arsenal. We're top of the league for the reason, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Look at this. Akpos, football knowledge is next level. Deserves more subs. Bloody oath he does. Bloody oath. In the football capital. The football capital right now is controlling the comments. Deserves more subs as well. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the football capital, jump onto the football capital, hit subscribe. If you haven't done it to this channel, subscribe, notifications, chuck the bell on. It won't hurt. We'll just bother you when stuff's happening, you know. And it's all shits and giggles. Me, Akpos, Football Capital in the background. God knows what else is going to happen. You might even show up in the stream. You never know, you know. But guys, look, I really appreciate you guys joining us. Let me know in the comments, guys. In the comments, if you could, let us know your preferred starting line. Does Tomiyasu start over Ben White? That's one of the big things. And does Trossard start over Nketiah? That's one thing. And one more thing I want to know is your score prediction. So let me know, does Trossard start over Nketiah? And does Tommy start over Ben White? And if you give us a score prediction, that'd be great. Smash the likes, guys. Please smash the likes. And look, to be honest, all I can say is that Arsenal are going to get these 3 points. My prediction for this game right now, I know I was cocky the first time. I know I was fucking, thinking 3. But honestly, I'm going to actually go 2-0 in this game. I don't think they're going to score. I think we're going to come out with 2-0. I don't know about you, Akpos. What do you think is going to happen here?
I have to go with the comment Fuad just dropped on the comment section for me, because in the last game against Leicester, I wanted a 3-0 victory to the Arsenal, because I've been talking about we solidifying our defense and not letting goals in at the back. So the clean sheet for
with Tommy, maybe.
Yeah, the clean sheet for me is a non-negotiable. We have to get that clean sheet. We have to close shop on the defense. So I would want to second what Fuad is saying here. 3-0 victory to the Arsenal. Because I think that 12th man effect, the crowd, the atmosphere at the Emirates is going to be very difficult for Everton to play football, in my opinion. So I want to big up also every football fans who go into the Emirates, who has gone into the Emirates this season, and for what they're doing, lifting the team spirit. Even when the team are making mistakes, where we go 1-0 down, these guys are screaming and singing and shouting at the top of their voice. So big up every Arsenal fan who go into the stadium also.
Oh, here we go. Football Capital's trying to troll us right now. I got Fuad fucking saying 3. I got BX Gunner in the building. Big up yourselves. I've got proud to be a Geordie agreeing with my scoreline. I've got a Man United fan in the background who's on God knows what drugs and controlling this. You know, what a great idea from the Aussie Gooner, eh? Getting a Man United guy to fucking control the comments. But anyway, meanwhile, he's trolling everyone. But anyway, guys, look, to be honest, the 12th man this season has been key. And it's great to see it in away games, and it's great to see it in home games. Because honestly, the atmosphere at the Emirates right now, even on TV, is fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And the 12th man has been, I think, has been key to. I mean, has been, it's been a little bit of an effect to the morale of the players and the belief that they've got at the moment. But look, guys, I'm going to end this stream here. Big up for everyone who's joined us today. Thank you for fucking liking, for subscribing. Please let us know what you guys think of the content. Give us a like. Give us a share, give us a subscribe, turn on the notification bell, check out Akpos, check out the Football Capital, please. And from the Aussie Gooner, everyone out here in Australia, from Akpos, Arsenal are going to get 3 points here. And it's Uru, guys. Uru.